Hello, everyone. Welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by ClickAway Creators. Today, we have Ms. Sushmita Gandhi with us. She is partner at IndusLaw, Mumbai, India. Thank you so much for joining us, Sushmita. We are pleased to have you with us today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for us as well, and thank you so much for joining in. We really look forward to have this session with you. We have a few questions that we would like to ask you, and I'm sure the audience is definitely looking forward to learn more from your experiences and your expertise. The first question coming your way, Sushmita, is if you can please tell us more about yourself and brief us about your journey as a legal professional so far.
Sure. I am actually a first generation lawyer. So I come from a family, there are no lawyers in my family. So I think that's something where I started from. So the journey from from a family which does not have lawyers to being a partner in a law firm has been quite satisfying, and it's been a very long journey and full of sometimes difficulties, sometimes smooth sail. So I think I joined the practice. I mean, in a corporate legal bank's corporate legal team, and I started with banking and SARFAESI and asset reconstruction and all of that. So that's the base of my practice. But then eventually, within a couple of years, I felt no, corporate legal is not my forte, and I wanted to move to this side of practice. So I moved to a law firm, and since then I've been there with a law firm. I've moved from one law firm to the other. Currently with IndusLaw, I've had a great journey as a disputes lawyer, and in my journey, I've come across different clients, different people, geographically dissimilar, with peculiar problems, and I think that's been the most satisfying part of this journey, where you've come across people with different from different backgrounds with different problems, and it's been a great experience to actually be able to help them and give them some advice, get them out of their problems. So yeah, overall I think it's been a great journey, from a non-lawyer background to a probably a reasonably established lawyer.
Amazing. So we have our first generation lawyer with us today, and who has been turned into a law firm lawyer from an in-house practitioner and from an in-house counsel. So that's something new. And apart from this, let's also not forget that it's been a very diversified journey so far. More to come across and more to learn from Sushmita. Let's move on to the second question. Sushmita, if you can also help us and tell us about one of your most memorable case, and we would also love to learn your key takeaways from there.
So when I as a disputes lawyer, for me, actually, all cases are memorable in some way or the other. So I may not be able to tell you. I mean, over the last so many years, I may have had several such cases, which, obviously the ones you succeed in are most memorable. But having said that, I think every case, there is something to take away from every case that, I have done. Uh, somewhere we learn something very big, somewhere we learn something small, but there is a takeaway from every case. But in the recent time, there is one particular matter where I was representing a bank against a very large defaulter, and that was all over the news. Also, it attracted a lot of media attention. uh, so what I've learned from that matter, and possibly from all matters, is that there's always a way to go up on the top, even if your back is against the wall. So that is the most important takeaway, key thing that I've learned from most of my matters. And this was one very recent matter where this is taught. I mean, I learned this the hard way, uh, but I think that's something which has stuck to me, that there's always a way to go up on top, even when you're in the worst situation sometimes. And the disputes practice is full of surprises, and I think you need to be ready for it. So if these are two things that I have actually kept it in my mind. This is a learning that I've taken from most of my cases, and that probably every lawyer should also probably have it in their mind, that disputes is full of surprises and there's always a way to go up on top.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that great insight. And one quick learning for all of us here is, hard learned lessons really make you stronger. So if something is not killing you, it's making you stronger. Let's believe in that. Moving on to the
Absolutely.
next one here. Thank you so much again, Sushmita, for sharing such great insights with us on that particular question. My next question is going to be, since you have been, working in the banking and finance disputes for quite some time now, tell us more about what do you think about banking and finance disputes in 2021 and how it's going to change 5 years down the line?
So, so again, I mean, to start off, I actually started my practice with banking and finance. So, it's inbuilt in me, it's in my blood. And I think that's what I have dealt with most of my life. And I have seen a great growth. And that's something which, from when I started off, the Sarfazi Act had just come in India, and I mean, very recently. And banking and finance industry has evolved greatly. So the financial industry currently the financial industry, is going through a resurgence, and there's a robust growth in the industry. And I think with that growth comes a lot of opportunities, and there is there's a huge market for disputes, banking disputes, because as and how the banking industry grows, with it grows the stressed asset, with it grows the funding, with it grows the non-performing assets, so the debt. So all of that becomes a part of it now, with insolvency and bankruptcy obviously in place. So the entire industry for the disputes practice is actually a great practice to have. So that's what I think. In 2021, obviously, with a little setback right now that we've had due to COVID, because some laws like IBC, there is some little bit of stalling there. But I think otherwise, the industry is the growth in the industry is actually growing the disputes practice, is what I think. So I think that's what, and it's a great thing for any legal practitioner to be in the practice of banking and disputes. Practice is something which is a lawyer's dream, I think, in these days, because there are so many defaults and so many debts that you kind of can grow your practice really well in that industry.
Amazing. Yeah, I think we definitely agree with you on that. And I would quickly jump on to the next question. You initially said during talking about yourself, your journey so far, you told us that you are a first generation lawyer. So tell us more about the challenges one faces being a first generation lawyer like yourself.
So so law was always, I mean, in the earlier days, I think we kind of thought it to be a generation practice. It's like father, son, daughter, or how that works. But I think that practice has that concept has changed, and I think all across we can see the first generation lawyers making really big, and that's the evolution. But I must say it comes with its own challenges. It's not an easy journey, uh, and I think I'll tell you why it is so. Because what happens for a first generation lawyer is you're not exposed to that kind of practice while you're growing up, as opposed to people who grew up in a family of lawyers, as probably in doctors or engineers or whatever. If you have a family background of it, it's easier because you see that while you're growing up. So what a generation lawyer would probably learn while growing up, as first generation lawyers, you learn that in your law school. So there's that time gap. So you kind of have to pick up from at a later stage. Uh, then also, so that exposure is not there, and that exposure comes only later for a first generation lawyer. So that's not an easy thing to cope up with. Uh, Plus, to establish yourself. To get to know to people knowing you. I think that's also a bit of challenge. But having said that, I think the legal field has opened up greatly for first generation lawyers. And I think I'm surrounded by a lot of first generation lawyers. And I'm very happy that when people take up people take up law as their profession while they don't have anybody at home. And yeah, I think though it is now quite okay, but it has its own challenges, as I said. So that's the thing.
Absolutely.
And I think, sorry, I think more importantly, there is another thing is that, when you start off your career as a lawyer, you don't have too many people to guide you through that what you should do and what you should not do, because you don't have a family background for that. So that's something, I mean, unless and until you land up with good mentors and good people to start off with, it may become a little difficult and edgy. So probably these are the challenges that usually a first generation lawyer faces. And I faced it too, but I was lucky that I got good mentors and good people to work with, and I think had my way.
Absolutely. I mean, I was talking to somebody a day before, and he said exactly the same thing, that being a first generation lawyer is like, misses something from your learnings. First of
Correct.
all, those dining table discussions on the legal matters that happens,
Absolutely.
you're not really a part of them. And then when it comes a moment in your career when you really have to pick something, there is no mentor who can actually tell you what needs to be done, or who knows you, who you are
Mm.
within. So these are few things that are really missing. However, the journey that you have been so far through, and a lot of first generation lawyers do, it has kind of its own peaks and valleys and its own learnings. And that first hand learning that you get can't really be replicated from somebody being there in the family before. So that's also a charm of having that journey, or probably going through that journey yourself and creating your path on your own. So that's definitely a great insight, and as well as a great inspiration for a lot of first generation lawyers. Thank you so much for sharing that insight with us.
Yeah.
I'd like to move on to the next question now. And you told us that you are currently working with IndusLaw. So tell us more about how your experience has been so far in the past couple of years.
So IndusLaw, I joined in 2018, sorry, 19 actually, and it's been a wonderful journey so far. So one great thing about IndusLaw is it encourages young lawyers, and therefore you will see a lot of young and dynamic lawyers and partners at IndusLaw. Uh, the growth of IndusLaw has been, the growth trajectory has been great. With the growth of the firm, obviously we as lawyers have also grown. Uh, uh, because IndusLaw is also a shift from legacy law firms. So IndusLaw is not a legacy law firm, and they have also established themselves, here in the market as like the first generation guys. Uh, that's something which is very noteworthy, and that's probably the reason why they encourage people, young and dynamic lawyers and first generation lawyers like us. And Indus Law also has a way, it's actually a firm with a lot of practice verticals. So we have practices spread across all verticals like tax, corporate, finance, banking, infra, employment, private equity, capital market, disputes. So it's a one-stop law firm, and you have a lot of lawyers who come with their experience, and we get to learn from them. And in fact, it's a benefit. It's beneficial for all of us because there's a cross-selling. You kind of benefit from so many practice areas and so many lawyers who come from different law firms and backgrounds. So far in the last 2 years, I've had a great journey along with my team, and it's actually been mutually beneficial, I think. So
Amazing. So, I mean, for all of us, here's a quick insight from Indus, that the team there really encourages your potential, and really helps you build a great legal career for yourself. And they look forward to have young lawyers and young legal professionals to come over and create their own path and create their own success. Thank you so much, Sushmita, for sharing all those great insights with us. It has been a great chat having with you. And we would again like to have maybe some more chats with you in the future on some other legal topics. For today, thank you so much once again for sharing such great insights with us. We look forward to having a chat with you in the future again on some other trending topics in the legal industry. For our viewers, if you like this chat, please like, share this video, and also subscribe to our channel, Clickaway Creators on YouTube, to appreciate what we do and have more coming from the industry leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Vinay for LexTalk World.